I had to hit that on the way back. We are back. Welcome to Die Hard Giants Live, and I am your host. I am Jarrell on IG and Twitter. It's been a long couple days. If you're watching this right now, I'm pretty sure that you are a Giants fan, and you are just as miserable as I am. We did not look good. We got blown out by the Minnesota Vikings, and unfortunately, we have to talk about it. So I got my girl Steph in the back. Let me get her in here.
Hey,
Steph, what's up, Steph?
yeah, I'm good.
It's going to be a lot of that this season, man. We got 17 games, got blown out in the first one. 16 more of these. I'm gonna be here every Tuesday at 9:00. Let me shout out to people in the chat. My man Jeff, Dope Soul alumni, he came in earlier. Salute, brother. Let me put his joint up here. My man Jeff wanted to say hello. I will be on Dope Soul, God willing, on Thursday, 9:00. So check Steph out and the crew. So we could talk about the Knicks. My man Dwayne, back for another season. Salute to Dwayne. Who else was it? Wonder Woman, salute Wonder Woman.
Salute.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. I don't know how long this show is going to be. I was telling Steph in the background because we are bad, man. It's nothing. I mean, I don't want to just crap on Daniel Jones like everybody else is. Like, I've been watching channels all for the past couple days since the game ended. And it's just all crapping on Daniel Jones. Well, Daniel Jones and Brian Daboll, because Brian Daboll did a horrible job coaching himself. It wasn't just Danny Dimes that played badly or put up a bad performance on Sunday. But yeah, it's enough to blame, and I'm gonna go through everything: offense, defense, what Minnesota did on offense and defense as well, and first up, we might have to talk about them ugly uniforms, Steph. How did
you? No, I wasn't feeling that at all. That was not them. That was the first thing I got to the game, but turned on the game a little late. I said, "What's going on here?"
Right.
Yeah,
terrible.
I wasn't feeling those.
So we could start here. Like the uniforms, it's the pants, Steph.
I think it's maybe if they was white. I know this is a play off the original uniforms, but the original uniforms back 100 wasn't they white?
I don't know. So hold on. You mean to tell me that they planned on they the ones who made it beige? Like it wasn't beige before? Like it was their decision to make it beige? I thought this was supposed to be like you said, like a rendition of the old, but I thought the colors were the same. Like they actually changed.
Maybe it was. It was black and white back then, so it's hard to tell from the picture.
Man, I don't see. I'm gonna get this off the screen so y'all see the uniform is terrible. The way that we played, they should burn all of these jerseys. I hope if anybody bought one, keep it as a collector's item. Never wear that again. Like I almost think it's like bad luck the fact that we won them now. Like we can't wear these again the way that we lost.
Right.
All right, we might as well get it started. The three key players on our offense. I mean, if you can see the numbers, zoom in real close, they are pretty bad. Except for Malik Neighbors, who's a rookie, but 22 completions for Daniel Jones, 186 yards, 2 INTs, 2 very bad INTs, too, especially the one to Andrew. Is it Andrew Van Ginkel, the outside linebacker or edge rusher for the Minnesota Vikings, picked Daniel Jones off for a pick 6. It was a terrible play. Steph, do you know that play that I'm talking about? Did you see it?
Well, I only saw one of the picks.
Okay. But this one was like Daniel Jones, it was a catch and throw type of play. Like I'm trying to envision, like I can't show highlights because of the NFL, but so let me try to paint a picture for everybody. Say everybody knows how football is played, the formations, right? But it was like trips right on the right hand side. That means it was 3 wide receivers, and then he brings like Wendell Robinson, Coach Dable brings Wendell Robinson, and you can almost tell, like everybody knows it's going to be a screen.
Right.
It was like a terrible play design, and it was almost like telegraph. You knew what was coming. And as soon as Daniel Jones caught the ball, he threw it to the flat, but he threw it directly to Andrew Van Ginkel, directly to him, like he the one who caught the screen. And that was crazy. Yeah, you talk about salute the delusional in place. Sorry guys, we couldn't. Yep, yep, yep. Lateral screen pass. It was a screen pass laterally through the line of scrimmage, and he threw it directly to Van Ginkel, which was weird. Like I almost think that it was. See, almost don't want to blame Daniel Jones. It's almost like too bad. Like that has to be like a coaching issue. The way that he did that, it was just weird. I haven't seen that often, especially not from somebody that's been 6 years in the league. Like Daniel Jones isn't a rookie anymore.
Right.
So that's almost not like a mental thing. I almost think like either the play call was wrong or somebody did something incorrectly for that to happen for him to just
Right.
do that like that. It was weird. But Devin Singletary, he barely touched the ball, only 10 carries, 37 yards. Malik Neighbors, these yards are pedestrian at best, 5 for 66. But Malik Neighbors, at least for a rookie, I think he actually led. I know the yards don't look like that much, but I think he actually led all of the wide receivers, rookies, in like yardage.
Right.
Like a couple of them, I think a couple of them might have had more receptions. A few of them had touchdowns this week. But yeah, Malik Neighbors, I think, had the most yards. So that should show you how talented he is compared to the rest of the team.
Right.
But it all depends on how we get him the ball. So did you see anything on offense that was at least surprising to you?
All of it was surprising. I think
Word.
Daniel Jones' performance was, was surprising. It's surprising Malik Neighbors had 66 yards, given, the way Daniel Jones played. I don't know. The thing about it is I don't know much about Minnesota. Are they a really, really good team?
Good defensive? No, not necessarily. Like we beat them in our, Daniel Jones only playoff win. Brian Dable's rookie year. That's the team that we beat in the playoffs. But they're not the same team. They don't have the same quarterback in Kirk Cousins. He starts for the Falcons now. The defense isn't, it's not like they have a sorry defense. Brian Flores is the defensive coordinator now, and he's a good coach. But the type of players that they have, it's not somebody like we shouldn't be able to score a touchdown on the whole game.
Right.
Let's just say that. Like they're at least a middle of the pack type of team.
Right.
And if you consider, even if you don't consider them a middle in the middle, they will be down there with us. It wouldn't be like they're not in the upper echelons of teams right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And we couldn't get much on the ground either.
No, but one thing I will say that I don't have, I'm not going to have any type of offensive line highlights up here or anything like that. But the offensive line, I watched the game like 3 times, unfortunately. The offensive line actually played pretty well. Not saying that everything was Daniel Jones' fault, but for the most part, it was him. Like 2 of the times that he was sacked, he ran directly into pressure when he didn't have to.
You think he's still dealing with the injury?
No, I just think he has terrible pocket presence now. Like his pocket presence is really, really lacking now. And he's never had great pocket presence. Remember when he first came into the league the first couple of years, he kept fumbling?
Oh my God, yeah.
Because he kept getting hit because he couldn't see, when the pressure was coming.
Yeah.
One of the sacks that he actually had the other day, it actually looked like our left tackle's fault, but it wasn't. It was really just Daniel Jones couldn't see the edge rusher coming from the left side, even though he's right-handed, which makes no sense. And even if he did see him coming and he knew he was coming, every quarterback with every passing play, there's something called a hot route. So if you know that the pressure is coming,
Right.
the quarterback and the wide receiver will signal to each other that they know the pressure is coming, and something called a hot route that
Right.
he dishes it off to the left side wherever the pressure is coming from.
Right. Right.
And he couldn't do that. Like it was just weird. Like it was almost like rookie type stuff. Some of the stuff that he was doing, rookies did not do on Sunday.
Yeah.
So that means it's just, I think Daniel Jones is shot. I
But from
think
what though?
I
I
didn't
mean, I
think it.
remember Eli Manning's last season. Any
Mhm.
little pressure, he would just sit down. I'm like, goodness, let him at least get within a few feet. But you could tell he had taken so many hits over his
Yeah.
career. He was getting up there in age. He was like,
Mhm.
I'm not taking another hit.
Yep.
What is Daniel Jones shot from?
Getting hit. Usually when quarterbacks get hit a lot, they lose confidence in themselves. Happens all the time, but it happens a lot to rookies. Unfortunately, Daniel Jones was drafted to a team that it took 6 seasons for them to actually fix the offensive line. So even though I think he shot, it's not like it was completely all his fault the way that he unraveled, because our coaching staff and our front office didn't really do him any favors other than giving him money, which is a huge favor. But they didn't do him any favors when it came to the look at the draft picks that they did from the offensive line, just from Joe Shane. Like they picked a center last year, um, but he was hurt like half of the season. Not saying that he won't be a good player, but that still remains to be seen. Evan Neal, pretty much everybody's calling him a bust now because this is his third season. He doesn't even start anymore.
Wow.
Um,
Remember, we were
he,
talking about moving him to another position. He don't even start.
yeah, he didn't play it down on Sunday.
Mhm.
We'll talk about Kayvon Thibodeau on defense later because they was picked 7 and 5 in that draft, and neither one of them are really living up to the bill so far. But
Right.
yeah, just to stay on Daniel Jones, like it's not all his fault, but it is his fault. Like he's not doing himself any favors either. But I actually think his shot is over. I think the Giants know that it's over too. Unfortunately, I think the players in the locker room also think it's over.
It's the first game.
Yeah, but look at the first game. And look at the time. It's not just this game. I think it compounds what he did when he got before he got hurt last season. Like this time last year in the first game when we got blown out by Dallas, it was 40-0. Daniel Jones was a huge part of that, and the offensive line as well. But I think like with those first few weeks of the season, when he got hurt, I think he got hurt during the Raider game. I don't remember. It's either the Raider or the Dolphins. I forgot, but he only played like half the season. I think after that and him building himself back up to play, I think he has the confidence to play and want to go out there. He's a hard worker. Like Daniel Jones is a good kid. He's just a bad quarterback.
Yeah. Jarrell, you being really nice.
I am.
This goes all the way back. This is not just year 6, year 5, year 4.
Yep.
In my opinion, and I said this as soon as the Giants drafted him, I didn't like the pick.
Right.
I did not like the pick. He had a good season, not last year. I think it was the year before.
Hmm.
Looked like he was, turning the corner. I'm like, listen, don't go for the banana in the tailpipe. In the 6 seasons that he's been here, the Giants have had 2 opportunities to draft a quarterback.
Yes.
2 opportunities to draft a really good prospect. I
Hmm.
mean, you never know, but they were good prospects. Here they go. Oh, well, I mean, I don't know what they were saying, but I'm thinking, oh, well, no, we just gonna get somebody on the line. We get somebody on the line. That's gonna really help them out. Oh, no, we get this wide receiver. That's gonna really help it. No, we get this quarterback. That's gonna help the franchise out. This is something we've needed for years, and we keep hoping that Daniel Jones is gonna come around. And I wonder how much of this is on the ownership who loved Daniel Jones.
Yep. A lot of it has to do with that. Just like the ownership brought in David Gettleman, who drafted him in the first place. Like it's all about relationships, connections. Like Daniel Jones was coached by Eli Manning and Peyton Manning's ex-coach. You know what I'm saying? So he has that connection. That's why a lot of people, think he reminds them of Eli, even though he never had the success as Eli. Even though he did go to Duke, it's not like Duke is some powerhouse. So regardless of his talent, he didn't have the talent around him to succeed anyway in college football.
Right.
Because Eli went to Ole Miss, Peyton went to Tennessee. They always had talent around them.
Right.
But Daniel Jones was always in that sort of vein just because he came up through their coaching. So it is what it is. We already know how ownership. Like, I was really shocked that they got rid of Saquon Barkley because of ownership. That was the one-time ownership. I don't know. Did you watch Hard Knocks at all over the summer?
No.
So on Hard Knocks, we had, Hard Knocks usually show like players in the locker room and stuff. But this year, the version that we were on, they showed our front office. So they showed a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff with Joe Shane and the owner.
Mm-hmm.
They was talking about Saquon Barkley before they actually, not let him go. It's not like they fired him, but they didn't attain him. So letting him walk, they had a conversation. So the owner actually did not want to get rid of Saquon Barkley. It was one of the few times, in Giants history that I know that, I know for certain that the ownership wanted something and the general manager didn't do it. Usually they would go with the like it's almost like John Mara is notorious for meddling.
Right.
It's part of the reason they drafted Saquon Barkley in the first place, because they didn't want to get rid of Eli Manning when it was time for him to go.
Right.
It's the same thing. It's like when they attacked, like Eli did so much for our organization when won us 2 Super Bowls. Like he had to be dragged out in order for them to, go to another guy. That's why they got Saquon Barkley, picked a running back 2nd overall when, teams don't draft running backs that high anymore.
Give him every opportunity. But listen, if they wanted to give him every opportunity, they would have piecemeal an offensive line around him on the tail end of his career. They trying to draft. I mean, I guess they were trying to draft young offensive linemen that would come together years down the line. But Eli Manning was on the back end of his career.
Right.
I've seen many NFL teams do it. They just piece together a good offensive line for that year. And I think that's what the Giants should have did the last few years of Eli's career, if they were trying to give him a opportunity instead of drafting a rookie. Well, he was a rookie, but he was good in his rookie year. So an Odell Beckham, but the offensive line was just falling apart, around him.
The 2 offensive linemen before Evan Neal in the first round was Eric Flowers and Justin Pugh, who are two tackles. One was obviously a bust in Eric Flowers. I wouldn't necessarily call Justin Pugh a bust because he had a longer career. He just wasn't, outstanding. He wasn't, an upgrade compared to like the average lineman. Like he wasn't bad. Let's just say that. So one would consider that a bust if you're going to be picked in the first round, even if you're just an average NFL player with a long career. But yeah, the offensive line, every offensive lineman that we've picked in the first round really has it pan out.
And that's the thing. The Giants are acting like the Knicks. They not hitting on their draft picks. You cannot build an organization if you're not hitting on your draft pick.
A lot of people are not going to remember the offensive line out of the first round that we picked. Remember, in the Saquon Barkley draft, our 2nd round pick was the offensive guard Will Hernandez. He ended up not panning out. Who else? Winston Richburg, the center that we drafted a few years before that. He ended up not panning out as well. I think it was somebody else, but I think it was another guard, but I forgot. But either way, like our offensive line, the ones that we pick in the draft, like other than Andrew Thomas, that's like the one of the main good things that David Gettleman did. He picked him fourth.
Right.
He's the man right now. Like
Right.
I'm glad that he picked him. I actually think Andrew Thomas might be the best offensive tackle in the league. On Sunday, even with the performance that we put up, Andrew Thomas was ranked number 1 in PDF when it comes to offensive tackles.
Wow.
So far this season, he is the best offensive tackle in the league. Like he had the best pass rush rate. I think it was 50 snaps, no pressures.
Wow.
So it's like Andrew Thomas and 4 people that we don't really know yet. Like I said, the offensive line actually did look good. The problem was Daniel Jones and the play calling. A lot of people should give Coach Dabo a lot of the blame for this. It's not just Daniel Jones. Like his play calling was weird. I think it was either on the first or the second drive. He ran Daniel Jones like dedicated runs with the quarterback on second and third down. Like who does that? Like he Lamar Jackson or somebody, or Cam Newton or somebody like that. Like it was weird, especially with Daniel, with DJ coming off
ACL.
ACL injury. It really doesn't make any sense. Like watching the game over, it was almost like Brian Dable was sabotaging himself. Like I don't know, like he ready to get out of here. Like I don't know what it is. Like it's weird, man. It was really weird.
What's the coach name? Played for coach of New England.
Bill Belichick.
Loading.
Yes.
Bill
Absolutely.
Belichick is loading.
Absolutely.
I mean,
he's definitely waiting. And to be honest, I think ownership is waiting too. I almost think that with this performance, I think the writing is on the wall. I think everybody might be out of here by the end of this year again. Like I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't be mad at ownership for doing it. Like they haven't produced. Like Brian Dable won that. I think winning that first year and we going to the playoffs, I think that was almost a bad thing.
Yeah.
It gave us a false sense of security, false sense of confidence.
Right.
It wasn't a very good football team.
Yeah. But you can understand them bringing Daniel Jones back after that.
Right.
I just don't understand them bringing him back after that. You know. I mean,
see, I don't understand the Saquon Barkley move after all of this.
You would have kept him.
Yeah, I would have kept him because the only reason I think they got rid of him, they keep on trying to drag the point when it comes to the price and the contract. Like he got like 12 something for the Eagles. Like Joe Shane seemed like he priced him like around $7 or $8 million, which doesn't really make sense, even with the other top backs that's in the league right now.
Right.
So he made it seem like he was lowballing Saquon. Like I don't know, he has an injury history, yes, but Saquon Barkley is still one of the most talented running backs in this league, regardless of injury. So to say that, so to say that you want to obtain him for like 8, like you're not going above 8 or maybe $9 million, and he go to your division rival, and they only gave him $3 more million that you were willing to pay.
Right.
That is a terrible. To me, that's bad. Like if Saquon Barkley actually does have a healthy season, I think he scored like 3 touchdowns on Sunday. So, in Brazil with the Eagles. So I think if he actually has a healthy season, go to the Pro Bowl, I think Joe Shane might be fired just because of that.
Right. And they don't want to listen. They didn't want to listen to the owner when it came to Saquon Barkley, but you're gonna listen. But you listen to him when it comes to Daniel Jones.
Right. It's almost like they didn't want to, I don't know, try to save face that they gave Daniel Jones that contract. And when you give somebody a contract like that, they're supposed to be the face of the franchise. They're supposed to be the face of the team. He's the quarterback. But as long as Saquon Barkley was here, regardless of how much money he made, people would have felt that it was his team. I really hope that's not the reason that they really got rid of him.
Right.
Because if that is the reason, they all do need to deserve to be fired.
Right. Because let's not act like Daniel Jones coming in and lighting it up and be like,
Right.
everybody is looking at Saquon when Daniel Jones is the real Daniel Jones. No. Saquon Barkley is the best player on the team.
Yeah, it's weird, man.
I mean, on the offensive side, you can argue on with Thomas and what's his name?
Who?
Sexy Dexy.
Sexy Dexter. We're gonna talk about him later too. Because he's just as dominant as Andrew Thomas is. But salute
was his name.
Salute the Almighty Finesse.
Salute
the Almighty Finesse. I see you in a minute, bro. Salute. So, okay. I see, I almost don't want to talk about them no more. Like, at least the offense. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, they look terrible. Like, the play calling was bad. Jalen Hyatt.
That's what I wanted to say about not hitting on a draft pick. He can't even beat out Slayton.
But here's the thing. This is what I was. It's a lot of stuff, weird stuff that Brian Dable did this year for some reason, Steph. So let me break it down real quick. All off season, I saw clips of them in practice. Mm-hmm. Jalen Hyatt was actually the number 2 wide receiver.
Wow.
He was starting. And Darius Slayton was third. Like, he came, like, they played the same position. They played it outside, right?
Right.
So Jalen Hyatt was starting. But for some strange reason, he didn't start the day and barely played. It was to the fact that Jalen Hyatt, after the game, he was visibly upset and left without even showering.
Wow.
They say he left the stadium with the eye black still under his eye. Like, he was, I don't know how much of that is true, but they said, like, he was really mad at like, to the point that reporters had to ask Brian Dable about it the next day after. They asked him about it today.
Wow.
So that means that, because something like that happened in defense too. On defense, well, let's get to defense real quick since we talk about that. So Dexter Lawrence obviously was a man amongst boys. Like, I talked about Andrew Thomas on the offensive and him being the most dominant offensive tackle in the game. Dexter Lawrence, now that Aaron Donald is retired, Dexter Lawrence is by far, I think he's the best defensive tackle in the entire NFL right now. And just like Andrew Thomas being the number 1 offensive tackle by PDF rankings, Dexter Lawrence was by far the best defensive tackle in the game on Sunday. Like, by far. Like, he had like when it comes to pass rush rates, it's kind of weird because even though the numbers seem low, by comparison, Dexter Lawrence's pass rush rate was like 36%, which seems low, but it's really high.
Wow.
Our edge rushers, Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns, newly acquired from the trade, supposed to be awesome. I think they combined for like 5%.
Oh my God! To combine, you said?
Yeah, like they were both terrible. They didn't get. I think Kayvon Thibodeau didn't have any tackles, no pressures, and maybe 1 hurry, which is like a lighter version of it. Like, he almost made a move or something. Like, he had 1 hurry, no pressures, 0 tackles, 0 breakups, 0 anything. Like, he got benched later in the game because he did have a bad face mask penalty that kept the Vikings on the field. But after that, they benched him. Kayvon Thibodeau is good enough for him to make a mistake like that and him not being benched. So something else was going on. He was just having a bad day. Like, he was getting slaughtered out there. Him and Brian Burns was completely non-existent. So that's why I put 2 rookies up here, because they led our team in tackles, Tyler Nubin. Mm-hmm. And there's the linebacker that we had, he wasn't even supposed to play because Michael McFadden is the starting linebacker and he's hurt.
Right.
Even though he dressed, they didn't have Michael McFadden on the injury report. He dressed but didn't play at all. Like, some of the stuff that Brian Dable is doing looks like the type of stuff that loser coaches do and coaches that are about to be fired.
Right. Honest. So, to your point, I was just reading this on the New York Post. Cordell Flott started at slot. Played 37 or 55 snaps at that position.
Hmm.
But in the summer training camp, he worked on the perimeter.
Right. That's why I mentioned the Darius Slayton, Jalen Hyatt thing. It's the
Mhm.
same thing that happened to Cordell Flott. He was our slot corner for the past 2 years, right? Young corner, still cutting his teeth in the game. Like he is not good, like, but he was moving up. So he got the starting gig last season. He
Mhm.
wasn't that good, but they tried to move him to the outside. He's not really a slot corner.
Mhm.
So they moved him to the outside all summer. He got hurt. He didn't practice a single snap in the slot, I don't think. They like exclusively moved him to be cornerback number 2, opposite side Banks.
Mhm.
So he's on the outside in the game, and the rule for Sook was that the rookie that we had playing the slot, his name is Andrew Phillips. Not only did when he did actually get into the game, Andrew Phillips is the one who caused our first turnover
Mhm.
on Sunday. He caused a fumble, I think, on it was either the Vikings first or second drive. And then after he caused the fumble, I think he played a few snaps, and that was all he played the entire game.
Wow.
And they put Cordell Flott instead of having him on the boundary on the outside like they was doing on summer. They actually moved him back to the slot like they did last year, even though he didn't practice the slot at all over the summer. Like it was just weird. Isaiah Simmons, the linebacker slash safety or whatever you want to call
Mhm.
him, athletic dude that we traded for last season. They
Uh-huh.
obtained him. He didn't play a single snap on Sunday
Wow.
for no apparent reason. Even though he played a preseason game, he was playing like he's not hurt or not anything. He was pissed too, that they said. So something is going on in the locker room on offense and defense that we don't know. I think Brian Dable, I don't know if he's losing the team, but this is weird behavior. It's weird. Like I don't get it.
Maybe he panicking, but how you panic before the game even start and move him to the
Right,
outside?
right. This is a game plan thing. Like nothing the Vikings did on offense will make you completely change your defense like that. Like we didn't sign Adoree Jackson in the offseason. He was sitting on the couch, not sitting on the couch literally, but he didn't get picked up by a team all offseason. So we actually brought him back a week ago,
Hmm.
and they actually played him more snaps than Andrew Phillips and Isaiah Simmons yesterday.
Mhm.
Put him right on the outside where they had Flott all that time, and then put Flott in the slot. And we was getting diced up. We was getting killed by Sam Darnold, who at one point we might as well get on him.
He
On
looked like Joe Montana out there.
the one point, see, these numbers don't really look good. If you didn't watch the game,
Right.
the 208 yards don't look like much if you just read the stats. But those 19 completions, at one point, Sam Darnold was 12 for 12. Like he hit
Yep.
the first 12 passes of the game. Like he was cooking us, man. It was well like, yo, this is Sam Darnold. Like I seen Sam Darnold be bad with the Jets. I've seen him be bad with the 49ers last year. I saw him be bad with the Panthers the year before that. And now the first game of the season against us, who have a refined defense now, he's cooking us like you said, like he was Joe Montana.
Yeah.
Like it was weird, man. Like it was a weird game. Um, that's why I was telling everybody that this week might be short. There's really nothing to say other than how many times could we say that we sucked
We got to be better.
and we got to be better. It's almost the same thing that if you actually watch any of the press conferences now, Brian Dable sounds like a coach that is going to be fired soon. Because the only thing he can say, like, the type of questions reporters going to ask, how come this didn't work? How come
Right.
that didn't work?
Right.
What the hell do you expect Brian Dable to say other than, yeah, we got to be better?
Right.
Like, you can't really say anything. It's the same thing now. Content creators are now what's going on now. That's why I didn't want to crap on or shit on Daniel Jones too much, because it's almost like we know that he's not it.
Right.
He has to be. This is his last season here.
Right.
Like there's nothing else to say about him. Like he's not good. He's not the quarterback of the future. they have to get rid of him. Like it's over to the point that they need to bench him soon.
Damn.
Because if he is because
let's get to game 3 at least.
No, but a lot of people don't know this. Daniel Jones has a stipulation in his contract that if he gets hurt and can't be on a roster next year, regardless if it's our roster or not, we have to pay him $25 million.
Wow.
And it goes against the cap.
That was my next question. Yeah.
So it goes against the cap. So that means it's a real $25 million. It's not just something the owner has to pay.
Right.
Like he's going to be on the roster for $25 million next year, whether he's on our team or not.
Right. If he gets hurt and can't make a physical next season. So that automatically, by the way that he played, comparing that to that, why the hell are you playing him? That's the thing you got to ask yourself. It's almost now like, are you trying to protect your job? Are you trying to, like, if I'm Joe Shane, the general manager, are you protecting your job? Are you trying to protect Daniel Jones? Are you protecting Dable? Like at this point, they're not protecting anybody. It seemed like they want to go. Like these are decisions seem like losers make. I don't understand it. Like it's kind of hard to put in words. You know what I mean?
But he's not good either. Like sitting Daniel Jones means that they're trying to get a draft pick for the rest of the season. Even though even playing him, we're gonna lose the games anyway. So it really don't matter. So you might as well just sit him. Because Drew Lock isn't coming in and beating nobody, really. But the thing is, he probably be better than Daniel Jones, and knowing us, we probably will win a couple games that we're not supposed to.
Right.
Because of that. Like
and
Tommy
you sign him to a contract.
$35 million for Drew Lock. Steph, if they do that, there will not be a diehard Giants next season. I'm done. I'm just a Knicks fan. Like I'm cool with content created for the Knicks, and that's it. Like the Giants will break me at that point.
Yeah, I mean, you need a quarterback.
Even Brian Dable won a couple games that we shouldn't have won last year with Tommy DeVito.
Right.
So that's why it's kind of weird seeing him coach badly, because he won a couple games. He was so good that he actually won a couple games with Tommy DeVito at quarterback last year.
Right.
So it's kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe it was because it was officially his first time calling plays as the head coach, like officially, like he did it a few times last season, even though he didn't want to admit it.
Why he's so eager to take over the play calling, though?
Because Mike Kafka, when we looked really bad, like this time last year, when it was 40-0 versus Dallas.
Yeah.
And Daniel Jones looked like that. That was because Mike Kafka was calling the plays. Like he's not really that good either. They just didn't want to fire him because they fired Wink Martindale. They didn't want to have two coordinators come in.
Right.
Right. So they took away his play calling. So why would you keep him? My only thing, they probably kept him because, they got rid of the DC.
Right.
So you don't want to have two new coordinators coming in for a newer coach. This is only Brian Dable's third season as the coach. So he decided to just take over his responsibilities and just, be the play caller. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. It makes sense. He's an offensive guy, and that's the reason why he became a head coach in the first place. And a lot of other prominent head coaches that call plays or that were offensive coordinators do that for their team now. Like Andy Reid in KC and so on and so on. Like it's not rare that a coach would do that.
Right.
But I don't know, to be the third year coach and the offensive coordinator that you came in with, you're just going to strip his responsibilities, and the first game that you're calling plays, you come up with that.
Right.
Then maybe neither one of y'all are good. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thinking. A lot of fans thinking also. Minnesota's defense, they have a few good players. Harrison Smith is one of the best safeties in the league. Brian Murphy Jr. is one of the best corners. And Andrew Van Ginkel, this is his first year with them. He wrecked the game for us yesterday, had a sack, multiple pressures, and that interception for a touchdown. He was the one who actually killed us last year when we played Miami, too. Like, this is his first year with the Vikings. He signed as a free agent. So he's a very good player. Saw him 2 years in a row, and he killed us 2 years in a row. So salute to Andrew Van Ginkel. But Yeah, Minnesota. Other than them three, it's not like they got world beaters over there. They have a good linebacker in Ivan Pace, his second year. Dallas Turner, who was their first round pick edge rusher, I think he got a sack on Daniel Jones yesterday too. But it's not like they the old steel curtain Pittsburgh Steelers,
Right.
defense that they had back in the '60s and '70s and stuff. So yeah, we just look bad, and that's pretty much the game. Um, we got Washington next week with um, Jaden Daniels, one of the quarterbacks that I was hoping that we could get when we was picking six, even though I know we probably didn't have enough to, jump multiple teams to get him because he was drafted second. Um, but yeah, we gotta deal with a rookie quarterback next week. These are even though this is only a week. Steph asked me how many teams were in the NFL. When I was showing her the slides, I was like, yes, it's 32. So we are dead last in points. We only scored 6 points. We haven't scored a touchdown yet after 1 week. And y'all see the rest of the stats, man. We're not really good. That's going into next week. The Commanders look better than us, but they pretty much got not blown out, but they didn't look really too good versus Tampa Bay last week as well. Jaden Daniels is a rookie quarterback, and it kind of looked it, but he still made flash plays here and there, even in the fourth quarter. As you can see, their points against is 31st. It's because Tampa Bay scored like 37 points on their defense. And that's what, Baker Mayfield at quarterback. So it's not like Joe Montana was over there. So their defense isn't really that good either. But with the type of offense that we have, their defense might look like the steel curtain from Pittsburgh next week. So other than that, that's all we got, man. Like the Giants are going to be the Giants this year. It's going to be a long season. I'm going to be here every week, just like we did with the watch alongs. I'm going to be here every Tuesday at 9. But they're going to be tough shows. It's going to be.
Yeah.
You might as well get that out of the way. Like we're going to be drinking up here. At least I am. Like I got water tonight, but this is only week 1. By week 8, by week like 8, 9, 10, like it's a long season. You got to think about we're going to have to go through this every week until December.
Yeah.
Into December.
Yeah.
Like Christmas time, we still going to be playing games. So it's going to be a long season. Hopefully, if you're watching this, you're a Knicks fan because we're actually good this time. Like it's usually the other way around when the Giants actually have a good team and the Knicks don't. Yeah, the Knicks are definitely getting their payback when it comes to headlines on the New York Post now. Like, because
for sure,
it's weird. Like other players around the league are talking about how bad we are now.
And it's just been one game.
The way he said he already drinking after week 1. After week 1, like what do you? As a fan, I guess that's a good and bad thing about being a fan. Like we're not jumping ship, can't root for any more teams. It just is what it is. You just have to wait your turn,
right?
Especially when it comes to football, you got to wait your turn. Like we could be like the Jacksonville Jaguars. They never won a Super Bowl. Yeah. We could be. There's multiple teams in the NFL that haven't won a Super Bowl yet.
Yeah,
some haven't even been close. So from the outside looking in, we're still one of the privileged fan bases because we have 4 Super Bowls. It's just been a while. That's all. It's been a long time since we've been good. I'm just thinking it's going to be a long season. I don't know what else. I need to take this off the screen. Dexter Lawrence. I'm going to talk about Dexter Lawrence a little bit before we get out of here. Last year, when Evan Neal was playing badly, he had a quote saying, speaking badly about the fans. Fans killed him for it. It's different when a Pro Bowler or pro has something negative to say about the fans because it's kind of like bittersweet because he's so good, you have to root for him. And it's not like what he said was completely egregious, but I just wanted to show what Dexter Lawrence said about the fans. Hold on.
You're on defense, not offense, but there was some fans did not seem very happy at a lot of points in this game. Could you hear that on the sideline?
Uh, could I hear the fans?
Yeah, I mean, they
However many fans there are,
yeah, booing at home. Yeah, booing your team.
could I hear them?
Yeah.
Can you get another question, please?
What do you make of that? What do you make of the boys?
I mean, I don't respect it, honestly. I get it. They want to see their team win. It's just a rough patch. I mean, it just is what it is.
See, that you could tell is just frustration.
Yeah.
To say he don't respect the fan. Like, I don't think he believes that. I think it's just the way that he said it.
Yeah, he did say, but I get it though.
But I get
it up.
But it's weird because just like Evan Neal, he comes from a big college program that was winning. Like, they don't know what, like, a lot of these kids not kids because they're like grown men now, but coming out of college, a lot of these kids don't know what losing feels like.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what, like, I can't even imagine what Malik Neighbors is going to be like in week 10 when you're a rookie wide receiver and your quarterback plays this way.
Right.
And you're not getting the ball, and he's actually good enough, even though he's a rookie. He's good. He's better than most vets in the league. Like, Malik Neighbors is good. Like, he's going to be special if he can get the ball.
Right.
Like, even with our offense the way that we played, he still had he had over 50 yards, 66 yards. Playing badly, with our offense playing badly. So imagine if we were actually clicking.
Right.
Like, imagine if we can actually get the ball downfield. I don't think Daniel Jones threw a pass more than 15 yards on Sunday. That was part of Brian Daboll's fault too. Like, Daniel Jones don't call the plays.
Right.
There was no shots downfield. It wasn't nobody running downfield either. It's not like he didn't take the shots. Like, with the play calling, there were no shots to be taken. Like, it was weird, man.
Yeah.
And one last thing.
But I just wanted to say,
okay,
you read the fans were getting on him for saying that. I mean,
yeah, like, fans don't like players talking negatively about booing because they feel like you got to think an NFL ticket, like the cheapest ticket, almost $200.
Yeah.
Like, with the nosebleed. So if I'm gonna pay that much, I'm gonna boo the hell out of you if you putting the type of product on the field that you're putting out. Like, last year, the season opener was 40-0 to Dallas, and then this year it's 28-6 to Minnesota, with a whole bunch of boo in between. So it's like, yeah, I'm gonna boo you. I'm gonna boo the hell out of you every time you step on the field until you show me something that'll make me not boo you. If they're playing well, there will be no boos.
Right.
Who was booing Dexter Lawrence?
Right.
Because none of them were booing him specifically.
Right.
They're booing the team because we sucked on Sunday.
Yeah. I thought he was when you first mentioned it before we came on, I thought you was talking about he commented on the fans waiting for Daniel Jones. After that's what I thought you were talking about. And I'm like, I mean, he might be right about it. But
yeah,
that's about in you talking about in stadium booing.
Yeah, they asked him about the in stadium, but to your credit though, yeah, I didn't bring that up. Some of the fans are a little crazy too, and a lot of them were kids though. But still, like, how were you raised? Like, to boo a team as they're playing is one thing.
Right.
Seeing a player outside the stadium and you're booing him to his face individually is weird.
Right.
Like, that's weird behavior. Like, what type of energy is that? Like, what you trying to accomplish with that? It's different when they're playing and it's a team. Like, you ain't gonna do none to Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is not gonna do anything to you. It's no point of booing him to his face. Like, that's weird. It's just disrespectful regardless of how he played. Like, there's still people. And a lot of people, I think a lot of fans don't realize that they're just dudes.
Right.
That can play football.
Right.
Like, at the end of the day, Dexter Lawrence is just a big ass dude that can play football.
Right.
But he's still a dude though. He's still just a person. Same thing as Daniel Jones. That, like, if somebody is really good on a bad team, they have their frustrations. They're also the frustrating people that aren't playing well on a bad team.
Right.
Like it doesn't matter if you're playing well or not. If you're losing, you're losing. Kayvon Thibodeau had a brush up with Jordan Renan, who is a beat reporter for the Giants, also in the locker room after the game. Jordan Renan asked him. I didn't bring that video, but Jordan Renan asked him about the pass rush or the lack thereof.
Mm-hmm.
Kayvon Thibodeau asked, did anybody else have another question? Completely ignored him right to his face. So you can tell like the tension is high already.
Yeah.
And stuff like that would make you believe that Brian Dable is losing the locker room.
Wow.
Because they're supposed to be two leaders in the locker room, at least Dexter Lawrence. Maybe not Kayvon Thibodeau.
Right.
But with Kayvon's maturity and the way that he acted, or the way that he's acted before this, he's one that you can say that he is a leader in that locker room, even though he's so young.
Right.
Like he's been mature beyond his years since he's been here. He hasn't really said anything egregious. He hasn't done anything off the field. Like he's been a model citizen in the locker room. And when I hear him in the interviews, he speaks well. He knows what he wants. He seems like he works hard. So when you ask him a question like that, for him to lash out like that, like losing, you could tell losing sucks.
Yeah, they frustrated.
They're just frustrated, man. These are good players saying stuff like that. Like it's not normal. You could just know. That's how I think Brian Dable was losing a lot.
Wow.
Because for good players to be frustrated like that, that means they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel either.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's not that we just sucked and losing on Tuesday. We're gonna suck all season.
That's a very good point. Because they've lost badly before. But when you don't believe that the team is good, then it's like,
yeah, what do you do?
First of many,
right?
The first of many, right here.
And this ain't like baseball. When you go up there, you take your swings. You know what I'm saying? You strike out. You go to the dugout, sit there by yourself. This is football. Like these dudes is getting hit every day. You gotta, if you're on defense, you gotta be the one doing the hunting and trying to hit or whatever. Like it's a different feeling when you put your body on the line like that. It's not just mental. Your body's on the line, but you sorry. Like y'all not gonna win. You have no chance of winning this game. How do you get yourself up for that?
Yeah.
That's tough with somebody slapping you in the face all night. Or all day on Sunday. You just getting hit. Dwayne said 3 to 4 wins. Hate to say it, but I agree with you.
Listen, what did I say before? And then the Giants turn around and get a wide receiver.
Steph, ain't no more diehard Giants then, Steph. This would be the last season I'm doing. I don't care who watches. Ain't nobody trying to do that. Man, is you crazy? If we don't get another quarterback next year, I don't know I can't even fathom that.
I don't even know is it a good quarterback class?
No.
But
it's always like that in the beginning. Not always like that, but usually it's like that in the beginning of the season. Mm-hmm. But like quarterbacks in college will emerge. Like I can list off like 5 right now, but they really haven't done any. Their season just started.
Right.
Like it's always like this the dude from Georgia, Carson Beck, Shedeur Sanders from Colorado, and maybe Cam Ward from Miami. But there are going to be a couple other quarterbacks that come in behind them that they might get drafted even before them. It's a long season.
Right.
Like Jaden Daniels is like that. Jaden Daniels was before last season, or this time last season, he was like a transfer from Arizona State. He ended up going to LSU, had Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. was his other wide receiver who was really good, got drafted in the first round. He ended up winning the Heisman Trophy and got picked second.
Wow.
The year before that, nobody knew who the hell Jalen Daniels was unless you were an Arizona State fan.
Right.
But he was a relatively nobody too, and just came out of nowhere. And now he's the starting quarterback for the Commanders.
All right. Wow. Hopefully we get some luck because, I don't want to keep going back, but the year we took Saquon, wasn't there some good quarterbacks in that draft?
See, Steph. We trying to get out of here, Steph. Like you just gonna piss me off before.
Because I'm like, there was
Steph, Josh Allen. Josh Allen was in that draft.
That's what I'm saying.
Was Mahomes in that draft? I forgot. But I think Lamar Jackson was definitely in that draft. Um, so we'll just keep it at Josh Allen and Jackson and Lamar Jackson. Could have either one of them could have been Giants. Yes.
And then we had another time when who was in the Jones draft?
The Jones draft was a little tricky because I like you. I didn't want Daniel Jones either. I actually wanted Dwayne Haskins coming out of Ohio State, but he ended up not really panning out either for the Commanders at the time. Drew Lock was actually ranked above Daniel Jones also.
Mm-hmm.
They both came out the same year, even though that's his backup now.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, it wasn't a really, really good quarterback class that year either. That's why a lot of people were shocked that we drafted him at 6. They thought that we could get him like with the Dexter Lawrence pick because we had 2 first-round picks that year, and we actually moved back into the first round, and we had 3 first-round picks that year. Right. The last one was Baker, the cornerback.
Yeah, who never played, got the legal trouble, right?
Yeah, he was but before the legal trouble, he was field trouble. He wasn't good. He had field trouble before the legal trouble. One woman said she started lighting candles. Yo. I miss that. See, this is why we have to have shows for laughs like this. It's going to take a lot of laughter this season, man.
Wait, okay, so it wasn't the Daniel Jones, but it was the Saquon Barkley draft, and there was another draft where the Giants were top 6 and had an opportunity to get another quarterback. And I think it was recent, maybe like 2 years ago.
I don't remember. I will have to look.
And I was like, here we go.
I think in the Saquon, Sam Darnold was in the Saquon draft too, I think. Because that's right. No.
It was another draft. I think it was like maybe 2-3 years ago with the guy who's with
Yeah, Sam wasn't in there. Sam Darnold wasn't in there. I'm getting my years mixed up. Not like Mahomes and stuff.
No. What's
after that?
Yes, after that. What's his name? Like maybe 2 years ago. Let me pull that up.
Not Trevor Lawrence was drafted number 1.
2 years ago. What's his name? Big guy. Well, most of the quarterbacks.
And now I'm intrigued. I need to look it up now.
It was like 2 years ago, and I guess people were like, maybe that was the year Jones was coming off of I was like, don't be fooled. Was it Plummer? What's his name?
Nah, not Jake. Not Plummer. Not Jake Plummer. A couple years ago. It wasn't nobody in the first year Joe Shane was. So you mean when like Gettleman was here?
No, it was this was just the 2024 draft, right?
Yeah. And before that,
yeah, I think it was before because they just got here.
Yeah, they've been here for 3 years.
Oh, 3 years.
So I don't know. I'm trying to think. Trey Lance was picked by Sam. I'm just trying off the top of my head who was picked high.
It wasn't that one. It wasn't the 2022 draft.
Maybe 21. And you can't think of the team.
Who was in that draft?
Let me check 21.
I think.
Yeah, Trey Lance was the 21 draft.
It was, well, 2023 wasn't bad either. With Bryce Young, CJ Stroud.
Yeah, we weren't going to get none of them, though. We picked Alfred, remember, but that was coming off the
Yeah, we
playoff.
picked. Yeah. That was we picked all the way down. We were what 24.
Yeah.
So that was it was another. All right, I'll find it for the next show.
Okay. Because I was looking at the draft before that, the 21 draft, and that's
Mhm.
what like we didn't have a chance to draft a high quarterback then either. That was Trevor
I
Lawrence,
think
Zach
that
Wilson.
was the draft I was talking about. Yeah.
That's when we
Where
picked
were we? We were wow.
when we picked 20th. So that was Kadarius Toney.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
that was like we had multiple, like we passed up on like a lot of talent that year too. If you actually looked at like where where we drafted, because
Yeah,
we traded down.
right.
Like we had a chance, I think, to get Micah Parsons.
Where were we originally?
I don't know.
Remember, it's okay.
I don't know because I'm looking at it now, and I do
Yeah, I'm
remember.
looking at it too.
But I
It
think,
says from Chicago. 11?
yes, that's what it was. We was at 11. We gave. That's what it was. Thank you. We gave Chicago 11 so they can draft their quarterback, who was Justin Fields. That's who you probably. That's who you was talking about.
Probably that was
That
it.
makes sense. Yeah, we could have had Justin Fields.
I'm
Yeah,
like, what were you giving it to somebody else so they could get a quarterback?
yes, that's what it is. We traded our 11th pick to Chicago to get Justin Fields, but after that, Steph, Michael Parsons was drafted. He's an All Pro.
Mhm.
Rashawn Slater is an All Pro with the Chargers. Uh, we drafted Kadarius Toney at 20, but then after that, um, the offensive tackle that we just played from Minnesota, Christian Darrisaw,
Mhm.
he's like a Pro Bowler. There's a couple Pro Bowls after that that we passed on.
Yeah, we got to get better at hitting on our draft picks, and you get about 48 of them in the NFL. It's not like
Right. It's not like basketball. You only get two.
right.
Mm.
But yeah, I think it was that one, and then the other one you was the Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, that's Saquon one. I actually wanted the Saquon draft.
What year was
Not
that?
20, ooh, I don't know, 20
Don't worry, I'll find it.
or 19, 2019, 18, one of those.
2018.
2018. 2018, if I remember correctly. I wanted Josh Allen was in that draft. I knew they wasn't going to draft
Sam
Lamar
Darnold
Jackson.
was in there too, but I wouldn't know it. Yeah,
Right.
Josh Allen was in there.
I
What
wanted
happened to Josh Rosen? He's out the league, right?
yeah, he out the league. That was a big quarterback draft. That's why it was so egregious for us to pick Saquon second, because they had Sam. Because I'm not looking at it. Off the top of my head, it was Sam Darnold, Josh Allen was in that draft. Jackson was in that draft. I think they traded back up into the first round to get him, put the last pick. And
Baker
it was
Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield was drafted first. Josh Rosen went to Arizona. I think it might have been somebody else too. But yeah, we stuck with Eli Manning.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Matter of fact, what Mahomes might have been in that draft.
I'm gonna have to go into the second round to see.
Because they traded up. KC traded up to get Mahomes. So Mahomes might have been in that draft. Or was he the year before? I forgot. But
I don't see him. I see Mason Rudolph. I don't see
Pittsburgh. He got drafted by Pittsburgh.
What round was Mahomes? You remember?
Mahomes was first, but he was like he got drafted like 10th or something.
He wasn't in this one.
He won a top 5 pick.
Yeah, no, Rosen went. It was Mayfield, Darnold, Allen, Rosen. I remember Rosen talking a lot of mess.
Like he was good. Like he was
Lamar and Lamar Jackson was the last pick in the first round.
Josh Rosen used to talk like he was about to set the world on fire.
Very confident. First one out the league and then the first round.
Well, in the Andrew Thomas draft, we picked 4th. So that was when Joe Burrow went first. We picked 4th, but
What year was that?
2020. Yeah, 2020. Right after Andrew Thomas, we could have had Tua from Miami. We could have had Justin Herbert from the Chargers. That was who I actually wanted, Justin Herbert. And I think that was the only quarterbacks that went. But
And
that
I
was
think that was probably the year on, because I know there was 2 years where I felt like the Giants picked pretty high and could have got a quarterback. Now this
right.
was before. This was before. When did Daniel Jones come?
No, that was after we already had Daniel Jones.
So probably they felt like you needed to give him some time. That was this is what his third. This was his third year.
Something like that. I would have drafted Justin Herbert. I didn't care how, like, he's just talent alone.
That's what I was thinking too. That was the draft. I knew it was two drafts I was thinking. But
like, I was actually surprised that Justin Herbert lasted to 6. Like, he got picked 6.
Right.
So, yeah, man. Steph, before we get out of here, I wanted to do the Carl Banks.
Yes, I want to hear that one.
Carl Banks talked about, salute to Carl Banks because he has a podcast as well, the Believe podcast with Bob Papa. So if you guys like Giants talk, and Carl Banks is obviously a legend. He was one of the 100 players that they what's the word? Celebrated during that game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with the ugly uniforms, we had the 100 celebration. He was one of the 100 players that actually, you know, celebrated. And this is the conversation him and Lawrence Taylor had.
I can tell you when we were lining up to go out to be introduced as the top 100 players, and a guy who never really comments on games because he doesn't watch many of them was Lawrence Taylor. He looked at me, and this is a true story, folks. If you want to know what we were thinking at halftime, Lawrence looked at me and he said, Carl, I could pick 22 of us right now and go out and play better than these guys. We'd win this game. And the youngest guy in that line was probably 50 years old. Lawrence Taylor looked at me and said, I can get 22 of us and go out there right now and whoop these guys' ass. I'm a fan first. I'm a former player. I'm a standard bearer. I'm part of the group that set the standard for what Giants football should be like. You're going to have some good games. You're going to have some bad games. But to start your season off looking the way you did, I mean, they're going to say, oh, yeah, well, there were some good plays. Not enough when you're playing a team in your weight class and they look like they took the next step and you're still stuck in 2023.
So, yeah, if you want to hear, you know, Carl talk, him and Bob Papa have a podcast called the Believe Podcast. So salute to them. I like Carl.
Mm-hmm.
He's always been a talker. I like that. Like, he's one of the ex-players that actually talk to fans and stuff on Twitter. I've had a couple interactions with him. He seemed like a really, really cool dude. Yeah, but that being said, like, that's, you know, that's heavy coming from like a legend from the team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't true. Like it's
Right.
The young boys will whoop their ass, but that's not the point. You know what I'm saying? Even Lawrence Taylor didn't believe that, but it was the point that he was trying to make, that they were sorry.
Right.
Like, so if older players are saying it, current players are saying it on Twitter, crapping on Daniel Jones and the team in general, yeah, man, it's kind of hard to believe that Brian Dable was going to be here much longer, unfortunately.
But he was. What about Joe?
Joe either. Like, to me, I'd fire both of them if I'm a fire one.
Right.
Like, if I'm a fire, if I fire Joe, like, Dable has to go because no general manager is going to come in and keep him.
You can get away with firing the coach and keeping the general manager. You know,
right.
People do that.
But so far, if I think Brian Dable should be fired, I don't think anything that Joe Shane has done so far warrants keeping him. Whether I like some of his decisions personally or not.
Right.
Because the missteps have outweighed the good picks or the good moves so far.
Right.
So if you're losing and the weight scale is, you know, bad stuff to good stuff, even after 3 years, you know, it's going to take time. Like, he's done a great job at cap relief.
Right.
Like, he's done a good job at cap stuff, like getting rid of the players, getting rid of them in a smart way, getting stuff for some of the trades, like Leo Williams. Leonard Williams. Got a third round pick for him, even though he was on the tail end of his career. That was good. Even the Brian Burns trade. Brian Burns, I think the Panthers offered the Rams, or the Rams offered the Panthers like 2 first-round picks for Brian Burns at first. They turned it down. And then at the end of the season, we got Brian Burns for like a second and a fourth or something like that. Like we didn't have to give up a first-round pick. So negotiating trades and contracts seem like his strong suit.
Right.
Drafting seemed like it doesn't.
Right.
Nobody that he's drafted has really panned out yet after 3 years. It's a short sample size, but it still remains to be seen that
it's a short sample size, but over 3 years, that's 2,486 picks. You know, it's not like it's not like it's the next like 3 years is what, 6 picks.
Right. Like where's the diamond in the rough?
Right.
You had 2 first-round picks in the top 10 with Evan Neal and Kayvon Thibodeau, and neither one of them one looks like a bust, and the other one looks like an average player at best at this point. Like I wouldn't say Kayvon Thibodeau, but I think he actually is good, but he's not like above average. It's not somebody that you couldn't just trade right now if you wanted to.
Right.
So in turn,
like a 4th rounder or something.
Nah, he'd probably get like a 3rd round because he's still young. Yeah, or maybe 2nd, depending on who needs a pass rusher. I might could squeak a 2nd rounder out of Kayvon. But the reason I say that is because, like, where are the second contracts coming from? When it comes to that and picks, it is kind of like basketball. You know how like the Knicks always getting slammed for not having like a rookie go on the second contract? Football is like that too.
Right.
Like the second contract is when you know that the rookie that you drafted fits your system, fits the franchise, and moving forward. Not saying that he's going to have his whole career there because football is weird. They cut anybody at any time. But getting a second contract to your rookie or getting an extension to your rookie, just like we did Andrew Thomas, a la Dexter Lawrence, those big contracts, they're like the staples of this team.
Right.
Like they're the best players. Dave Gettleman drafted both of them. So what does Joe Shane have to
show?
So far, none of his rookies are going to get second contracts yet. They haven't shown enough.
Wow. And you know what I feel before we get out of here? I feel a little sorry for the owners because they bleed this Giants. Like you could tell the hurt when you hear them talk.
Yep.
Like we didn't make the playoffs again. Like they look legitimately hurt.
Yeah.
And they keep trying and with what's his name talked a good game, the one before Joe Shane and them.
Judge. Oh, Joe Judge, yes.
Joe Judge talked a really good game, and I was like, "Oh, we about to turn it up."
I was psyched up. I was psyched when they hired Joe Judge. I was like, okay, I'm ready to run through a brick wall. For Joe Judge. Yeah, he sucked too.
Yeah,
he was terrible.
Yeah,
I don't even compare him to Brian Dable. Like Joe Judge just wasn't good. Like I don't know, he wasn't good. I think we just wanted a fresh face, and he had a good pep. We wanted a fresh face. We wanted Ben McAdoo out of here, and we wanted somebody that would, Ben McAdoo was not nice, but he had slicked his hair back, started wearing suits and stuff. Joe Judge came in like a hoodie, was talking real football talk like he was some big man or something, and
he probably when they was interviewing him, he sold them too.
Yep, sold him. He was a good car salesman. Yeah. Brian Dable don't seem like a good car salesman. That's why I thought he was actually good at his job.
Right.
Like when he talks to me, I don't see salesman. Like I just see a coach and a good coach.
Right.
But just not lately. Like a lot of this is his fault, and he got to fix it.
Yeah.
All right, so we out of here, Steph. I mean, we give him an hour and 15 minute show. Now I'm saying, I mean, I get to go to bed. It ain't too late. Salute to everybody in the chat. Any last words, Steph? I know you got dope solo on Thursday.
Yeah. We doing roster comparisons Last week we did Cleveland and Indiana, and this week we're gonna do Miami and Cleveland. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. And then I got lunchtime live on Mondays with Tony Crow and enjoying that, and can't wait. I'm gonna miss most of preseason. I'm gonna be out the country, but I'll be back in time for the first game.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to that.
You're not doing any. You're trying to do content creation as you out there too.
I might. I'm
like,
trying.
I know you stream from anywhere. So.
I got NBA. I got NBA League Pass, and I think if you have that, is good internationally. I just don't know. I'm gonna be in Jamaica, West Indies, so I don't know if I'll be. I don't know. Sometimes when I was in Ghana, I couldn't get it. I had NBA League Pass. I couldn't get the game, so I'll see.
Yeah, we gonna hold it down though. How long you gonna be though?
10 days from the 5th to the 15th. So I'm gonna miss the 6th to the 15th. I'm gonna miss. Okay. I think we got one preseason game when I get back.
Ain't too bad though. At least you're not missing any regular season game. Yeah, I'm ready for the season too. You know why? Because we good.
Yeah.
We actually good now. Now I'm saying this off season, I was dreading our football season to start. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So it's different when your team is good, man.
It definitely is. Just a good feeling. Now let us lose 2 games in a row, though.
In the 82 game season, we go 0-2. Tibbs gonna need to be fired. We need to fire Leon Rose need to go. We shouldn't have gave Jalen Brunson all that money. All that stuff is coming.
Right. OG is overpaid.
Everybody overpaid.
We gave up too much. Too much for him. He wasn't an all-star, and it's just 7 games into the season. So
they're gonna want to start Deuce. They're gonna want to start Jacob Toppin need to get minutes. All that stuff.
Why is Kolek sitting?
Why Kolek sitting? He should be starting. All right, fellas. It's been a week. Relax. We'll be fine. We'll be all right. Basketball is different. We can fly off the handle. 82 game season. You lose a couple games.
Yeah. And listen, it's this is a new team. I'm with the Knicks fans that this is the year when we could definitely win the championship. But I'm not tripping if we don't. The expectation that you're going to just fly through the regular season and land with no bumps in the road.
Right. Everybody has bumps. That's the whole point of the 82 game season. It's supposed to be long, and the journey is supposed to be the journey.
Right.
If that's the case, they'll shorten the season and just start the playoffs, around Christmas and be straight.
Exactly.
But it is what it is. Steph, you have a good night. Everybody have a good night. And I'll holler at y'all, man, every Tuesday, 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
Hard Giants. Peace.